tried
got
to
up and
escape.
sang, so.
Oh yeah, had a chance to check.
It's
So we're
kind of those like, she just sits in the car and just don't have her songs. And you're like, this is as well as I can get you.
Yep. Watch that movie. Okay.
No, but it was good.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And when the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be.
at karaoke last night. we had the best time last night. It was so much fun. If you were part of getting that, Jim Green isn't here this morning.
He's sleeping.
Yeah, it probably is. He put this whole thing together for us with the assistance of our special events, Lisa, and who else? Bonnie and Amanda. It's just wonderful. So thank you so much for all of your help and support. Thank you to all those who came out to sing too, because it was just so much fun. I had a ball. So let's begin with a moment of silence. And let's affirm together our opening statement. Skipped ahead a bit. There is only one presence and one power in my life and in the universe. God, the good, omnipotent. Let's affirm that again. There is only one presence and one power in my life and in the universe. God, the good, omnipotent. And welcome here to Unity Center, Cedar Rapids on this morning. And if you're joining us on live stream today, please know that whoever you are, wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are welcome to join us here today. Even if you aren't here with us in the room, know that you are connected with us heart to heart and soul to soul. And for those who are here today, welcome to you as well. This is a place of affirmation. It is a place that accepts you as you are, which in truth, you are the beloved child of God, in whom God is most well pleased. Let's stand and sing.
There's a perfect flow of love that unites the world. There's a perfect flow of joy that invites the world. And there's a perfect flow of peace I now behold, soul to soul. There's perfection in the oneness that I feel. There's reflection in the process as I heal. And there's a perfect flow of love I now behold, soul to soul, heart to heart, mind to mind. Soul to soul, heart to heart, peace is mine. There's a perfect flow of love that resides in me. There's a perfect flow of joy that is guiding me. And there's a perfect flow of peace I now behold, soul to soul. Let's take this moment to greet your friends and neighbors with a namaste. I behold the Christ in you. Soul to soul, heart to heart, mind to mind. Soul to soul, heart to heart, peace is mine. There's a perfect flow of love that unites the world. And there's a perfect flow of joy that invites the world. And there's a perfect flow of peace I now behold, soul to soul, soul to soul, soul to soul.
Now we're going to send our kiddos off to the classroom. We have Uniteens today as well. And then our Sunday school class, our youth and family ministry classroom for those up to age 12. So let's send them off with We Are Walking in the Light. We are walking in the light, in the light. want to make today at Coe College in Sinclair Auditorium, there will be a speaker to commemorate the 2023 Yom HaShoah, the Day of Remembrance for the Holocaust. And this is in conjunction with the Interreligious Council of Linn County. I'll be participating, as will others. And the speaker is Tova Friedman, and she is the co-author of The Daughter of Auschwitz, My Story of Resilience, Survival, and Hope. She is one of the youngest people to survive Auschwitz and that terrible concentration camp. So we invite you to come and be part of this. There'll be a remembrance service as well as Tova Friedman's address as well. So there are some flyers out on the welcome table that give you more information about the event this evening, and we certainly invite you and encourage you to come and be with our Jewish siblings as they remember with sadness, but also remember, invite us to remember so that this never occurs again.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm Chris Klosterman, and I get to be your platform chair today. Thank you. Oh, pressure's on now. If you're a guest here at UCR today, welcome, first and foremost, and please pick up an information packet at the welcome table in the foyer. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you again. Spring choir rehearsals have begun. The dates and times are on the screens right there, and come celebrate the joy of Easter in song. Speaking of Easter, we are collecting Easter candy and plastic eggs to fill for our youth and family ministry Easter egg hunt scheduled for Easter Sunday, April 9th. Start bringing in the goodies. There is a bin for them in the foyer. This Wednesday, licensed Unity leader Jan Griffith begins a new class combining Unity's 12 powers and women of the Bible. The class will meet on 8 consecutive Wednesdays in sacred grounds and books from 10 a.m. through noon. Please sign up at the welcome table. And you'll see, as always, a running theme of everything being on the welcome table in the foyer. It's not there, still in the foyer. If you head to the foyer, nothing will be lost to you. The Elaine Fisher Community Cupboard is collecting menstrual pads in all sizes and absorbencies. This is an important item for the women we serve and promotes women's health and dignity. There is a bin for your donation by
Welcome table.
There we go. As our spring and summer community events begin, be sure to purchase your Unity t-shirts. You can order on the UCR website, or by clicking on the QR code on the screen that you see right there. There is also an order form on the welcome table. We need a minimum order, so get yours today. If you have a prayer concern today, our prayer partner, Polly Gold, right there, thank you very much, is honored to support you in the prayer room. Polly Gold is also the Sunday assistant today if you have any questions. And now, our statement of purpose. Please join me. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. We gather to create an experience of spirit. At Unity CR, we offer practical teachings that empower abundant and meaningful living. Meeting you right where you are, we endeavor to provide a variety of ways to support your path of spiritual living. Our mission is to provide spiritual awareness and share the wonder and joy of God's love. And our daily word today is joy. I draw from my wellspring of joy. There are so many ways to express joy. I may speak words of praise that bring the awareness of even more blessings to mind. I may take joyful action, my every step aglow with the light of God, enlivening all I do. I celebrate the playful joy of every child, especially the child within me. I experience the same happiness whether I am in the heart of a busy city or in the stillness of nature. And then there's the quiet joy of just being, the richest joy of all. I rediscover my joy by taking slow, deep breaths, tapping into my wellspring of well-being that never runs out. I feel its energetic flow spilling over into my heart and life. What joy to be a spiritual being, a precious, precious child of God. From Luke chapter 2, verse 10. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for see, I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people."
Let's all stand.
We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the joy. We let the joy wash over us. We let it be. We let the joy wash over us. We let it be. We let the grace, wash over us. We let it be. We let the grace wash over us. We let it be. We let the peace wash over us. We let it be. We let the peace wash over us. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. Divine love awakens in me now. 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 Please join me. Divine love awakens in me now. Divine love awakens in me now.
Take a deep breath and let it go. And feel floating out with your breath any care, concern, stress, or anxiety. And feel your attention pulled fully in this place. Let it center on the core of your being. Just let it be. You see, that is what we are to do. Just let it be. To surrender into the love and the life and the power and the possibility, the grace that is God. To let it flow within us. To let anything go that impedes our full experience and expression of it. To allow every aspect of our being to agree, to align, to be congruent. And to let it be. Listen now to these words of a prayer called the Grace Prayer. Let these words be your words. For you I thirst. Into your hands I commit my spirit. Your will is my will. Your will is done through me. Heal me at depth. Reveal that which needs to be revealed. Heal that which needs to be healed. So I glorify you. Your will is my will. Heal me at depth. Reveal that which needs to be revealed. Heal that which needs to be healed. So that I might live in the fullness of grace. As we rest now in silence and quietness, we open our being and we say to this divine essence that is within us, let it be. Creator, sustainer, divine love, we are so grateful for this moment in which we have opened our being to your presence, this moment in which we have truly allowed it to be. And as we begin to bring our attention back to this time and to this place, as we become aware of our surroundings and those around us, we bring this gratitude with us into our world and we send it forth to do its good and healing work, for we know, God, that your will is truly a will of good. And we say thank you, thank you, thank you, Spirit. And so it is, and so it shall ever be. Amen. It's just so amazingly talented in so many ways. Thank you, thank you. That was beautiful, thank you. So we are near the end of our season of Lent. Next Sunday we'll end it, but the last 4 Sundays we've talked about letting this energy that is the very life of God express in and through us by just letting it flow. And then letting go into that, letting go of things that hinder our free expression of it. And then agreeing with it, let it agree, let all those fragmented parts of ourselves be pulled into wholeness so that it agrees with this divine essence within us. And today we'll talk about the process of surrender, just letting it be. In Macon, Georgia, at this time of year, there is a cherry blossom festival, as there is in Washington, D.C. And many people don't know there are as many cherry blossoms planted in Macon, Georgia, as there are in Washington, D.C. Same varietal of cherry blossoms. They're an ornamental cherry. They're not fruit-bearing. But they're absolutely, stunningly beautiful this time of year. And it always reminds me, as I see some daffodils poking up out of the mulch out in our gardens, that the plants and the flowers and the trees that are just beginning to bud, if you look closely, they just let it be. They allow themselves to move through these seasons. They trust. And in a sense, we trust as well that spring will come. Nature surrounds us with this unfolding process of surrender. Just as the seasons change, so do we as we allow ourselves to let go into this process of unfoldment. And when I talk about surrender, I'm not talking about giving up, or I'm not talking about giving in. I'm talking about giving way. Giving way to this potential, this divine essence, this truth of our being that we talk about here every single Sunday in some form. Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, wrote, "I am in the upward, forward, progressive movement of spirit, and the mark of success is upon me." I love that. I am part of the upward, forward, progressive movement of spirit, and the mark of success is upon me. And certainly that is my affirmation of truth, that I'm in that flow of this upward, forward movement of spirit. But there are times in my life when I know that I'm out of sync with that intention. There are times in my life I act as if I've totally forgotten that truth. And how important it is for us to surrender all that stands in the way of living fully in that presence and experience our oneness with God by letting go, surrendering, releasing ourselves into it. Teresa of Avila, who you know is a spiritual mentor that I read her writings, particularly that within her most famous work, Interior Castle, and it speaks to me through the centuries. She says, "We can only learn to know ourselves and do what we can, namely surrender our will and fulfill God's will in us." We are to fulfill God's will. Now, that's a hard one, because some of us have been brought up with this understanding that God's will may not be exactly what I want to express in my life, right? Anything that happens in life, whether it's good or bad, we say sometimes, God's will. And so we don't trust it. We don't allow ourselves to open ourselves to the movement of it in our lives. But here in this place, we teach that God's will for us is good and only good. That we are part of this forward, upward movement of spirit. And so often when we release, we let go, we say that we are surrendering into that truth, we wait for the other shoe to drop, right? We wait for something else to happen, something that we don't want to experience in our lives. But God's will of good wants us to experience health and wholeness, abundance and prosperity, harmony and joy in our relationships, peace in our world, love between neighbors and even enemies. That's what God wills for us. That's what God wants for us. And anything that occurs in our experience that is outside of that perhaps comes from the experience of living under the conditions of being human. There are some things over which we have little to no control about the physical experience in itself. But as I told you either last week or the week before, or probably every Sunday, we do have control over how we think and feel and perceive something in our lives. The poet Tagore wrote, "When I give up the helm, I know that the time has come for you to take it. What there is to do will be instantly done. Vain is the struggle." I know that the time has come for you to take it. What there is to do will be instantly done. And so often in my life, if there is one experience, if there's one condition that I replicate over and over and over again. It's this one, not letting go. Feeling that I have to do this all on my own. But you see, we evolve out of what's involved in us, as some of our unity writers tell us. We evolve out of, we spiritually evolve out of that which is involved in us. And then even during those dark nights of the soul, as Teresa of Avila's spiritual companion John of the Cross would say, even in those constricted times, something new is born out of that moment as we surrender to it, as we let go and let God be God in us instead of fighting and resisting and pushing against it. And I know that this involution process can often result in a time of difficulty or even anguish. And I know that that's a hard word. It's a harsh word. But the word anguish comes from an Old English word that means narrow or constricted. And in our moments of anguish, in our times of pain, it's like we're giving birth to something. We are in the midst of spiritual labor pains. And that time of narrowness and constriction bursts us into a new life and a new consciousness. Even Paul, the Apostle Paul, speaks to it in his letter to the Romans when he says, "We know that the whole creation has been groaning in labor pains until now." We all move through these times of constriction, these times of moments in which we feel life has narrowed for us, but we can give birth to something new as we surrender to this will of good in our lives. Now, the season of Lent leads us up to the Good Friday and the Easter experience. And we know that Jesus experienced inner struggle because he was not only a spiritually mature being, he was also an emotionally and psychologically mature being. He didn't deny his feelings. We see that quite clearly in the Gospels. He experienced angst or anguish, but he used it to give birth to a new consciousness and new awareness. And I think that the story that best illustrates this is the one that, if you have your Lenten devotional, you probably read it today, about Jesus' experience in the Garden of Gethsemane before his arrest. And so he is in the garden, and the account that I'm using is in the 26th chapter of the Gospel of Matthew. And so in this story, Jesus is grieved because he knows his betrayal and crucifixion are imminent. And he says, as he prays, "Take this cup from me." And he ends his time of prayer with, "But not my will, but yours be done." Now, is he surrendering to his crucifixion? But is he instead surrendering to the movement of spirit within him that leads to the resurrection? Not my will, but yours be done. And in our booklet this morning, the reading, Reverend Edith Washington Woods writes, "As Jesus walked to Gethsemane with his disciples, he was increasingly in anguish and agitation. He said, 'Abba, Father, for you all things are possible. Remove the cup from me, yet not what I want, but what you want.'" And she uses Mark's account in Mark 14. This indicates that during this entire time, he was surrendering his finite will over to the care of God. Jesus demonstrated surrender is a process. We continue in this divine process of becoming. We surrender our thoughts, our limitations, our burdens, and lives over to the tender, loving care of this infinite presence. And she continues, "In order to surrender, we are invited to look deeply within. We say yes. We say yes to embracing the process of surrender. Understanding it strengthens our spiritual muscle. And as we participate in the art of surrender, we can clearly listen to an expansive inner intelligence. And this binds us to all there is, and we are free to soar. But that takes trust, and it takes a willingness to, and it takes a realization in our being that God's will for us is good and only good. The word Gethsemane, the name of the garden in which Jesus prayed, means oil press. Oil is used to burn in lamps, and it's extracted from olives by pressing them. So our times of struggle and inner anguish can be a time in which we allow something of the light and the power of God to be liberated, pressed forth from within us. Our times of constriction and narrowness are a time in which we birth that light and power. And yet it is imperative that we engage and involve our spiritual understanding, that we engage our spiritual faculties in this birthing process to guard, to guide, to mentor us, to lead us, to protect us from getting so engaged in the outer circumstances that we resist the change, the transformation that is coming. The disciples that accompanied Jesus to the garden were Peter, James, and John. These represent three important spiritual faculties or powers in us. Peter represents faith. The involvement of faith in our internal process establishes us in that sense of trust. It keeps us anchored. Faith gives us the courage to know, and even in the darkest night, to know that our dawn will come. The second is James, the son of Zebedee, which represents, according to Charles Fillmore, our faculty of judgment. Now, when we talk about judgment, we're not talking about condemnation. We're talking about our ability to evaluate, to analyze, to take stock of our current awareness. And it's through the right use of that spiritual faculty that we assess our lives, our beliefs. We evaluate that which no longer serves us so that we can let it go. And then John represents our spiritual faculty of love. Love is compassion, particularly compassion for ourselves as we move through these times of struggle. And when our faculty of love is engaged, we allow it to be a catalyst to experience something new, to bring forth something new in our lives. Now, the interesting part of the story is that Jesus goes into the garden to pray, into the oil press, into this time of constriction, but these three disciples keep falling asleep. And he comes out and he chastises them. It happens more than once. And what that story means is that sometimes the faculties need to be woken up, engaged. Now, we're always using them. Please hear this. But we're not using them to the fullness that we are meant to. And yet, we can wake them up. Pardon me. We can engage them. There are times in my life when I feel knocked off my center, when I feel myself searching for some sense of congruence and awareness. And I know then that I am out of alignment with God's good will for my life. And if we are to truly bring ourselves into resonance and alignment with it, with God's will, that we need to give up, as I mentioned earlier, our preconceptions or our misconceptions about God, our negative beliefs about God, that God stands ready to heal us and wound us at any moment. That's simply not the truth, as I know it. As we are willing to surrender, as we open ourselves to this process of letting go, we give God the helm. We let God lead, And we open up a way for God's healing life and energy to express in and through us. I shared a prayer in the meditation. It's called the Grace Prayer. It was written by Unity minister Debra. There's some copies out in the foyer for you if you would like it. And I love this prayer because it truly speaks to this idea of releasing and letting go. For you I thirst. Into your hands I commit my spirit. Your will is my will. Your will be done through me. Heal me at depth. Reveal that which needs to be revealed. Heal that which needs to be healed so that I can glorify you and live in the fullness of grace. And live in the fullness of grace, which is God's love given to us freely and fully. And she ends the prayer with, "It is finished," which harkens to one of the last words of Jesus on the cross. And so I invite you today to explore what it means to truly surrender. Again, not to give up, not to give in, but to give way to the power and the process and the potential of the divine in you. Let us be willing to let God have God's way in us. Give your consent, yield to it. Trust that God's will for you is good and only good. Try to let go into that presence. Don't try. As Nike says, just do it. And let the power of God's love lift you into the marvelous creation that you are in truth. God bless you.
Well, we were going to do Two Spring, but I like this other song better.
Oh, that's right. Oh, we didn't change.
We didn't change the thing.
Shoot.
We thought there was a piece called Two Spring, and it's lovely, but this one's called Canterbury Round by Charles Forsberg.
That's okay. Ready?
And at this time, I would like to invite the ushers to please come forward with the baskets. We bless these baskets and the abundance they will soon receive. We see them as symbols of the potential available to all of us. As we participate in the sacred act of giving and receiving, we remember the words of Charles Fillmore. Spirit gives abundantly. We receive thankfully and give again generously. And now please join me in our offertory statement. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful.
I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
We surround all those who have asked us to pray with them and for them today. We know that mighty currents of God's healing love is moving in and through every situation, circumstance in their lives, and is mighty to heal, to bless, and to prosper them. We release these requests, we let them go, trusting and knowing that truly all is well. And we dedicate and consecrate these tithes, these gifts, and these offerings to the will and the work and the way of the Christ as it expresses through this ministry of love and service. And so it is. Amen. Amen. And now let's stand and join together in singing, Let There Be Peace on Earth.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all agree. Let us walk with each other in perfect unity. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyful vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. God bless you. Have a great week.
I'm in no key. I don't know what key it is. G. Joy.